Quake has recently hit its 25th anniversary, and it still remains one of the best first-person shooters of all time. It carved the path for new games to take advantage of the Quake engine and innovative multiplayer arena shooters. To this day, it is still influential to many other games, and now has the potential to have a reboot, which I think is way overdue. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're having a great day so far. It's been a minute since my last upload, and I hope I can get more content uploaded more frequently now that I am done moving and have everything all settled in. As time goes on, I want to still cover topics on Doom, but we'll probably be covering other games as well since I can only cover so many topics on Doom at the moment. If you're new here and love Doom and similar games, then you're in the right place. To start off, the Quake series have a lot of inconsistencies, but still have a lot of great content for all sorts of players. If you love the whole Lovecraftian horror approach, then the first game is just for you. If you enjoy the whole Alien Strogg story or just the multiplayer aspect of it, then there are other games just for you as well. The series have been a staple of id Software for many years and gives players an alternative to other games like Doom and Wolfenstein. However, there hasn't been a new Quake game for some time now, except for Quake Champions, which came out a few years ago and is only multiplayer. I would say that a good number of the community have enjoyed that game, but I feel that it is time for an actual full-sized Quake game with a single-player campaign. As of recently, there have been rumors of a new Quake game in development, and with the possibility of a female protagonist, which I'll talk more about in a bit. Obviously, nothing is official quite yet, but I think with the whole 25th anniversary this year, it is time for a new game. Within the rumor, we come to find out that both id Software and Machine Games could be working on it together. If the rumor is true, then we may get a new Quake game before the new Wolfenstein game. This will actually make sense to have these two studios work together, since I would say that Machine Games will be setting the groundwork for the game, while part of id Software will help out with it, and the other part continue to support Doom Eternal with new game updates, events, master levels, and maybe one day Invasion. Of course, now we know that Horde mode will be more of a focus than Invasion, but who knows, maybe Invasion could be a reality down the road still. Since the DLCs are all taken care of with Doom Eternal, it would pretty much be a skeleton crew working on those updates, which would allow the bulk of the team to help with the development of the Quake Reboot. Now, of course, with the rumors, we can first see that it's a reboot instead of a sequel. So with that being said, it definitely won't be a continuation of any of the games, which is kind of unfortunate. Quake 4 ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger, and the first game has a lot of different opportunities to pursue. Unless, of course, they take the approach that Doom 2016 did by being a reboot, but also a sequel to Doom 64. I think there could be a few different routes that could be possible with this whole reboot. The first idea would be that they reboot the first game. A lot of people in the community loved Quake 1, which had a lot of interesting enemies and environments compared to the other games. It had a simple story of creatures invading the human world through slipgates after teleportation experiments have gone wrong, and the lone protagonist, who later is known as Ranger, is sent in to fight these creatures through multiple dimensions and eventually kill the all-mother shub-niggurath. Definitely sounds a lot like the OG Doom story, but with a twist, of course. Now that we have a name for the protagonist thanks to Quake Champions, we can dive more into his backstory and develop more on him and the possible female protagonist. A lot of people are thinking that the character Crash might be the potential protagonist, and I think that could work. However, having a female character in this kind of franchise would need to be done correctly. Some people might say that Wolfenstein Youngblood was a flop, but I think it could work if the female character is just as badass as the male character and there are two different kinds of stories. Much like how the community hates the idea of a female Doomslayer in Doom Eternal or any future Doom game replacing the male Doomslayer. I would rather have a female protagonist that has their own story and is the Doomslayer's equal, but a different person. So in this case for Quake, we both know that Ranger and Crash are two different people with different backstories. With the lore in Doom 2016 and Eternal, there could be a whole lot of room to expand on the Quake universe, and possibly connect it more to the other games in the id universe. Let me know what you guys think about that. The other idea would be to have the reboot be based on the Strogg storyline. Personally, I really liked Quake 2 and 4, and I think to this day that Quake 4 still holds up to this day in terms of gameplay and graphics, much like Doom 3. The protagonist in Quake 2 was some random marine named Bitterman, who was named that for the third game, while in Quake 4 you play as Matthew Kane, who is
one certified badass.
His backstory is pretty cool as well, and for those who don't know it, he was the sole survivor of a battle against the Strogg on the space station Armstrong during the invasion of Earth. Most of the events of that battle were kept quiet by the UN, but we know he came across a weapon that helped him rid the station of the Strogg, and as a result, he lost one of his eyes. Throughout the rest of the game in Quake 4, he even gets Stroggified and becomes more of a badass by being faster and able to take advantage of understanding the Strogg language, among other things. Obviously, he's nowhere compared to the ferocity of the Doomslayer, but the Quake games were never about the player becoming an immortal being hell-bent on destroying everything in their way. By the end of the game, Kane is able to defeat the Macron once and for all, and destroy the Nexus, which allowed the Strogg to communicate with their forces. After a short reunion with his squad, he's given new orders and the game ends. It would be interesting to see what the new mission entails, or even see where the war ends with the Strogg. However, if we get a sequel of this game, maybe we can either play as Kane in another version of the campaign, or someone else during the human invasion. I think it would be cool to see another perspective of the invasion of the planet Stroggos. But we could even see the reboot take place throughout Quake 2 and 4, or we could even see a completely new take on the Strogg and the whole conflict. Either way, I would enjoy a new Quake game involving the Strogg with a new character, or maybe not. Now, of course, the other idea would be to make the Quake series something entirely new. No more Strogg or Slipgate creatures, but an entirely new series with no restrictions of the story or characters. Bethesda Game Studios is already in the works with Starfield, which is something entirely new to their typical Elder Scrolls or Fallout games, so it would be great to see id Software reaching out to a whole nother world to showcase. Doing this will allow them to use a female as the main protagonist, or even somehow tie it with their other games like Doom. The Doom universe is expanding, and we may see some kind of connection to the Quake universe or even the Rage universe. We've already seen many Easter eggs of all these franchises in each other's games, so it's time we start connecting them more in some way. I think one way of creating the new reboot could combine all of the Quake games into one. The main protagonist could be Ranger, who deals with both the creatures from the Slipgates and the Strogg in the campaign. By doing this, it could make more fans happy that they are getting a game with the best of both worlds. Or by having something entirely new would clean the slate and see what creations both id Software and Machine Games can come up with. Both studios have been doing an excellent job lately, and Doom Eternal has really set the bar for future id games. With the recent update for ray tracing, next-gen consoles, and the constant transparency from the developers, we can only imagine how great a new Quake game could look like. I remember when Quake 4 was first released, and I thought the graphics were top-notch, and didn't think that there could be anything better, at least for a long time. With how awesome Doom Eternal looks and runs on id Tech 7, any future id game will have the best treatment. Of course, as long as the new Quake game has a solid single-player campaign and deathmatch-style multiplayer, there shouldn't be much to worry about. However, if id is going to make a new Quake game, then the multiplayer would most likely be a mode that they really need to focus on. Battle mode in Doom Eternal was a great concept and keeps those pro players busy fragging each other, but for the casual gamer, it's only the campaign and master levels to come back to. I honestly think that a typical deathmatch kind of mode in the new Quake game would be a wasted effort, mostly because that is exactly what Quake Champions has been. There would need to be something fresh, and maybe if we don't end up getting Invasion in Doom Eternal, they can use that mode in the new Quake game. That would give both id Software and Machine Games plenty of time to finesse it and have it ready for launch. Let me know what you guys think about a multiplayer mode that would be unique for a new Quake game. Quakecon 2021 is not too far away, and I'm sure we'll get some kind of reveal or teaser for the next game in development. If the new Quake game doesn't get announced, I won't really be too bummed out, but it would be nice to get a solid confirmation that they are working on a reboot of the franchise. What do you guys think? Do you think that there will be some kind of announcement for the Quake reboot, or are we going to have to wait a long time before we get to that point? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. It's always exciting to see what new games are possibly going to be released in the future, and this is one game that I'm really looking forward to. I hope you all enjoyed my video on this topic for Quake. If so, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video so we can get it out there more. Also check out my social media accounts at RipNtear Gaming to see other things over there. I'm usually more active on Twitter, but we'll probably start posting more personal photos on my Instagram mixed with video games and such, just to change things up a bit. I really appreciate the support on the channel, and you guys are awesome. Until next time, don't forget to rip and tear. Peace.